Hi, today I have my lovely friend Natalie Dale Mills on, and Natalie has the most incredible story. I'm going to leave it up to her to tell her story, but it's a story of struggle, adversity. It's a story of determination and grit. It's a story of faith over fear, and it's a story of success in a very short period of time. And I'm delighted to have her on. Natalie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I'm thrilled that you're here. And I'm absolutely honored and privileged that you are prepared to share your story with us and help to inspire our audience to go out and find their own Natalie. So
yeah,
let's go. So would you like to tell me a little bit, starting off when honestly, Nat, you had nothing?
yeah. And I think, that's kind of it. You don't have to have the world to be able to dream big, and you don't have to have everything to have that desire within you. And I think that's just something that, you look at the most successful people in the world, they all started somewhere. And that's encouraging for all of us that feel like, well, what am I going to do and how am I going to reach that? It's just knowing that others have gone before you and they've created wealth with not having anything, right? So that's, I think, one of the most encouraging things, is really starting from nothing. But I had an absolute love for fashion, for jewelry, for accessories at the youngest age. So I used to go with my family to vacations and collect seashells. Very humble beginnings, came back home, would kind of like thread all the seashells together, put nail varnish on to get it all colored up, and then I would sell it to the neighborhood. So I really realized from a young age that I've got this fashionista inside of me, but I think it's more driven by an entrepreneurial side of me. If you make something pretty and people like it, you can make money out of it. So that really started my venture of understanding at a very young age, being so born. I think I was absolutely born entrepreneurial. So, going through really, really hard times in my life, through my family, and not having it easy and not having that huge disposable income. I'm completely street taught and self-taught and street smart. So when I was younger, they always knew me as the bling queen. So I used to go to a lot of parties, and I used to go out, and I used to always wear this bling, but it would always fall apart at the end of the night. So funny, you're on the Cinderella story, and I used to go home after these events and just literally the jewels would come out, and I'm like, I really love this piece. But then I really found that there was a gap in the market between having something that's affordable and that's quality. And I just couldn't find that. So that was really the start of what I found the brand, and the start of how I ventured on to create this business that I've created back in South Africa. So yeah, really, again, just boils down to that desire and having that good idea, and no matter what, just pushing through to get to that end result. That's why you started it in the first place.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. And I heard you say a couple of things that were really important and pertinent. One of them was you started this business back in South Africa.
Correct,
So you immigrated. And,
yes, I did.
For all of us that immigrated, as I've said before, it is a tremendously traumatic experience.
It is. It is.
You have no roots anymore. You don't know who you are. You don't know the culture. You don't know anybody around you. And it's really, you don't even have money, because coming from South Africa at this stage of our lives, the money is worth nothing.
Yeah.
So,
And it's so interesting, just to kind of put a nugget on that. And it's the way I understood it the best. So when we immigrated from South Africa here, and it was God's divine intervention that told me I needed to cross the seas, and having established things back in South Africa. But when I came here, I was very excited, and it was kind of my choice, and I knew God was with me. But I found myself in a lot of struggles, a lot of internal turmoil, trying to make up. And Natalie, you really wanted to be here, and why am I not adapting, and why is this becoming so hard for me? And I started to get a little bit sick from the anxiety and the depression and the panic attacks. And I actually went to my psychologist, and I encourage us all to always keep our mental health in check. When we're not feeling great, let's go speak to someone. And I really spoke to her, and I said, well, what is it? And she put it so eloquently. She said, Natalie, the life that you've known before is dead. And subconsciously, you are mourning that life. And that could be anything from driving down a road, going to gym, fetching your daughter from school, that routine, that basis, everything that you knew before is now died. And you subconsciously are mourning this without even being so aware of what is going on. And it was so profound when I understood those words, your life as you knew it is dead. And
Where
that
do
was
you
like,
go from there,
yeah,
Natalie? Where do you go from there? So it was very
you
profound.
rebuild. Yeah, very
And
profound. You rebuild and you acknowledge it, right? You don't turn your back, you don't dismiss it, you don't say, well, you acknowledge it, you acknowledge your feelings, and you say, right now, how do I fix that? And how do I start to rebuild it? And what does that look like? And what do
yes,
I have to put in place to get back to feeling like, okay, I'm starting a new life now, right? And then again, that question, life's all about choices. So remember your why. Why did you leave? Why did you leave? Because we also tend to glamorize things a lot, right? Oh, life there was great, or in this picture I looked so happy, or we glamorize things that are just, it's not the truth. When we really look at the real dynamics of things, it's like, you weren't in a great place there, that wasn't really going on there, but there's this glamorous picture of the past. So where do you go is you face it, you acknowledge it, and you start making the changes to make it better.
absolutely. And you said something really profound there as well. It's you have to address your mental health and you have to nurture it.
Yeah.
And it's the same as if you had a sore toe and it didn't get better and it kept swelling, you're going to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
So our mind is as important. It's very much a part of our body.
If
And
not more important, right? Because a sore toe can maybe get better, but if your
you can
mental health is
isolate
not in
to
check,
the sore toe.
exactly. But you can really start getting physiologically really ill if your mental health is not where it should be. And that's happened to me, and I speak from absolute experience when I say that. So yeah, as you say, keep yourself in check, and there's nothing wrong with seeing a doctor. There's nothing wrong with speaking out and seeking help.
Absolutely, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And that was really, really a great takeaway right there. So thank you
Yes.
for that. And thank you for being so
Good.
transparent. And so tell me a little bit. So you arrived in America. How did you know where to go to in America?
I
As
didn't.
a place.
Didn't. My dream was I'm going to Newport Beach, but I think there was just other plans for me. I didn't know. I literally did not know where I was going to stay, what I was going to be doing. I had a calling from the Lord that I needed to cross the seas, and as an obedient child of God, I felt like there was a bigger purpose for me across the water. And I literally packed up 8 suitcases, left everything that I built behind, and I crossed the seas into America. So I did not know where I was going to go. And then we kind of connected with some South Africans that stay in Texas. And they said, look, before you settle, you've got to come visit Texas, and you've got to come to Dallas and just come and see what it's about before you decide. So we went to Austin, went to Dallas, and then we just didn't leave. We're kind of like, we arrived here and I'm like, what happened to the ocean? But
Because you hit a
here.
comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I think it's a soft landing, I would say. And being faith-based, and I just think the people were just so incredible. Well, not more the Americans that I'd met here, very networking. I mean, Dallas is a very entrepreneurial hub, so for me, I found a very good network of people that were really guiding me and helping me, because that's really what you're going to need in these journeys, is reach out to some people and connect with people to help you a bit with your journey. No one's going to do it for you. Let me say that again. No one is going to do it for you, but you can lean on people for guidance, advice, and help.
So again, I'm hearing a few nuggets here. So one of them is you got to do it by yourself.
Correct.
But two of them is you need community. So while they're not going to do it for you, if you find the right community, you're going to get the support to give you the confidence to do it for yourself.
Correct. Even no one's going to do it for you. I mean, somebody could give you a suggestion, right? And they say, well, have you tried, this avenue with your business? It's a suggestion. They're not going to go down the avenue, open the door, sign the contract, and say, right, here we are, it's done. And that's where I'm getting into, no one's going to do it for you.
Right.
Where you could get advice from people, but that is completely up to you what you do with that advice. That's
Right.
what I'm kind of mentioning. And some people feel that it's going to be done for them, and that's not going to happen. They feel like there's this magic wand that, and I think what happens, you put yourself up against expectations that are just unrealistic when you've got that perspective.
100% so. And so you've been in the States for 6 years, correct?
Years, yeah, it feels like 60 years, but 6 years. Sometimes it feels like 6 months, though. It's gone super fast, but really, really long.
Absolutely fantastic. So tell me a little bit about what it is that you do and how you juggle. You said that you have a daughter. So how it
Yes.
is that you juggle what you do so successfully, so entrepreneurially, with having a daughter, having a family, and
Yeah.
finding balance in your life, because I think balance is critical as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd love to say the picture's pretty and I've got it down to a T, but I absolutely don't. So I think what it kind of is knowing your limits, setting those boundaries, with other people, with yourself, checking in on yourself, but balancing the act of, this is also my dream. And I think a lot of times what we do is we feel like when we have got children, we need to sacrifice our dreams for this new part of our lives. And I think the best thing we can do for our children is to be the best of who we were meant to be and we were created to be. So how I juggle with my little beautiful little girl named Tuscany, I involve her a lot. I think she's coming out to be quite entrepreneurial at the ripe old age of 8. And I said, I started at 8 years old. She told me 2 weeks ago she wants to start a business. She's so cute. And I said, what do you want to call it? She says, AT Tuscany. I want to sell to adults and teenagers, and it must be called Tuscany. So I was like, my girl, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. So I embrace her in my life, and I don't revolve my life around her in all the aspects. I try and revolve her into the normal of what my life is. So also just knowing when your time off is, when it's, mommy daughter time and when it's work time. And obviously working all these hours, it's not always that easy, but you just kind of day by day try and find that balance. I'm not very rigid. I've never been known for being very rigid. So it's not like 8 o'clock is this, 8:30 is that. That's not Natalie at all. It's a fly and then it's a catch up. So it would be, all right, I've worked for so long, for so many days. Now it's catch up time, and I put that aside. Just depends on how we do it. But I don't have any secret recipes or formulas for that. It's just that involvement, right? That balance, and it's a non. You can't see the balance. It's just there. Do
Do
you know
you
what I
have
mean? Not
any
analytical.
non-negotiables?
With my daughter, or
Just generally in your life, like, this is the time that is non-negotiable for what I need.
gym. Gym's my non-negotiable. I've got to go to gym. I've got to train again. Mental health, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy mind. And I think that's my time to steam off too. And no matter what's going on, I have got to go to gym. So that to me is a non-negotiable for me, is making sure I get that time to de-stress, to have my endorphins going, and just to kind of recoup.
Well, I think that, what I'm hearing you say is that you're very much in tune with your body and what your needs are within your own body. And it's not something that you've had to put in place. I need to focus on my mental health. I need to go to the gym. It's just very much part of your rhythm and who you are. And naturally keeps you healthy.
Yeah, no, it's a lifestyle. It's not, I tend to eat really well, but I'm never on a diet. I just kind of choose to eat well. And a lot of times when you go out, people are like, you're on a diet. I'm like, no, this is just how I normally eat. And are you on an exercise regime? No, I just work out. So it's really about lifestyle, because if you've got to make those changes in your life, if you haven't got there, you got to make those changes to get there. And when you start doing that, you'll get there. But when you stop doing those changes, you're going to revert back to square one,
Right.
which is not what you want to do. And you need to have that switch in your mind to say, this is lifestyle choices. This is a lifestyle change. This is the new normal. In other words, this is just how it is, versus stringently, I'm on a diet and I've got to train. And because when you pocket that, you're not accepting it as a new way to live. Your diet, like the word diet to me doesn't sound like it's never ending. I mean, it's to me doesn't sound like it's never ending. It's a season. I'm on this diet, but the new lifestyle is just how you continuously live.
And it's sustainable.
Yes, of course, of course. And I mean, the thing is, as you mentioned, now I'm very in tune with my body, and I am. So never do I kind of like deprive myself of anything. Never. My life's got a really good balance of what I need, when I need it. And I think that's just so important, especially at my age and the pressure I'm under. I don't deprive myself of things when I need them. So if
That's
I need a chocolate,
wonderful.
I'll have a chocolate. If I need crackers and cheese, I'll have crackers and cheese. It's not the end of the world. So yeah.
Well, I commend you on taking control of your health, and and it's all really, your health is your wealth.
Absolutely.
And if you are not healthy, there's no ways that you can become wealthy.
Yeah.
So give us a few little tips that you've found along the way on your journey, being so successful. Natalie, I see your bling going down runways.
Yes.
And runways of, highly recognized runways, Oscars and Emmys, and I'm not even
Yes.
sure which other ones, and movie stars and singers and all A-listers. And, for you to arrive at this place of being recognized to this level that these A-listers are wearing your stuff, tell me a little bit about what you would leave our audience with when they're embarking on their entrepreneurial journey. I'm sorry. And tell me a little bit about some key takeaways that you would suggest that they follow.
Yeah. You know what? I think the key takeaway, and I always kind of revert back to this, and it's one word, and that's desire. Desire. If you don't have that burning desire deep inside your belly that is creating all those flames that kind of, makes you want to be what you want to do what you want to do, get to where you want to go. You can have all the dreams in the world, all these aspirations to be whatever. That burning desire is the fuel that gets you to that place. Because believe me, it's going to be hard. If somebody tells me, oh, this is going to be easy, I immediately say, stop, put that pen down, you've already failed, because it's going to be hard. And there are ebbs and there are flows, and there are seasons of calm waters and there's these seasons of chaos. But what gets you through the ups and the downs and the ebbs and the flows? It's that desire to be what you want to be and to achieve what you set your mind out to achieve.
So that's wonderful that you say that. So what I'm hearing you say is that because you have such desire, nothing is going to stand in your way.
That's it. That's what I put it down to, is that desire. If I coming here, I was like, I want to be recognized, but more recognized, not for the recognition of the fame that we get or the celebrities that are wearing our things, recognized for my story to inspire other people, that this girl in the tip of South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa, that came from very humble beginnings, if she can do this, let's find out why and how. And I can inspire people to live their dreams and to show them, yes, this is the picture at the end, but let me tell you, it's been very ugly. It's been very hard. It has been brutal at times, but it was my desire that pushed me through. And you need to question yourself with everything that you do. What if the worst of the worst hit me? Would I be able to sustain that storm, or would I stop? Because if you feel like at one stage you're going to stop, I don't know if it's the right course for you, because you don't feel it here. Like when I say here, I mean, you got to feel it, that feeling inside you. So yeah, just to really share my story and inspire other people that I too was lost. I too have been in, the hardest places. And even now, I'm not immune to what's going on with the recession and the global politics and everything like that. We're not immune to that. But I choose to carry on because I feel in my heart that that's what I want to do.
I think that's absolutely wonderful. And so when somebody says no to you, how do you respond to that no?
No is a form, right? If somebody says no to me, they say no to me in that shape and in that form. I just change shape and form, and I go back and I say, and now, what does this one look like? No, okay, let me go back and change shape and form. And now I don't know how to give up. So they can say no to me, and they do all the time, but I just come back with something different, something better, back to the drawing board, back to see, well, what else can we do, and go back and pitch again. That's just how I look at it. No is a shape and a form. So go back and change your shape and change your form, and then try again.
So there in itself is right, the biggest nugget. Don't take no. Don't ever settle for no. You've got to figure a way around it and navigate it until you get the yes.
Yes, yeah. And again, that's just that desire that's going to drive you to try again, right? Because somebody can say no and you give up. That means you don't have that desire inside of you to carry on.
Right.
So that's why I always take it back to desire. We can all want things, but we need to have that desire to get to things.
Right.
And desire is action. Desire is that action.
Absolutely. So if, you know, the way I look at it sometimes, if I'm going to get a no and I'm going to get a no repetitively, then I can also look at it and say, okay, but this no is leading me closer. It's one step closer to a yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's absolutely fabulous. And I love your tenacity. I love that you are just determined to go for that thing. It is. Yeah. It's the thing that's deep inside of you. And I really am just blown away by it and how you're accomplishing your dreams and living with them. And,
and you know what it is? Another thing, just to kind of mention this as well, is we don't have to always have things figured out. A lot of the times people come and they say, well, what is my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. I always encourage them. Do what you're doing every day and your purpose will find you. It's not always, and I don't think it often is, a light bulb moment where you're sitting in the bath and boom, this is your purpose. Or, you know, you're driving down the road, that is my purpose. Like this light bulb flashing moment. It's not. Sometimes people only find their purpose when they are doing what they're doing every day to try and discover what that is. So don't pause and stop because you feel like, oh, I don't know if this is my purpose. Go through it, because that could possibly be leading you to that end result of that.
That's absolutely fabulous advice, Natalie. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And sorry about this. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is, I know along the way you have found religion, and religion is honestly your source for everything that you do. It's where you go to when you're struggling. It's where you go to for inspiration. It's where you go to for encouragement, or the message to hear that you're on the right path and this thought is something you must follow. And was that something that you always had, or was that something that came when you were grown up or after immigration?
Yeah, I think definitely my walk in the United States has brought me closer than ever to my relationship with God. And I think it had to, because it's one of the hardest walks that you're going to walk on, right? So you need to lean into some strength. And we don't have that strength. I don't have that. And I often say the reason I'm sitting where I am today is God. You know, so I was so blessed to have the most incredible father in my life. He was a God-fearing man, and still to this day, I've never met anyone as God-fearing as my dad. Unfortunately, when I lost my dad at 23 years old, still, you know, after all these years, I still battle with that. But I had a lot of anger with me, right? And I had a lot of questions how that could happen. But it was through that I really found more deeper connection and our relationship with the Lord, where I kind of surrendered it. And I started to understand this is a process of life, Natalie. We're all going to die. But, you know, God is my forefront. He is my everything. He lives in me. He is the desire in my heart. That's God's desire. And it's God's strength that carries me through what I'm going through. So we're a religious company, we're a kingdom company. We pray over our merchandise as well. When it arrives, we pray for Jesus to protect the people that get it. And, you know, we speak the word of God when we can. But yeah, it definitely is. From when I wake up in the morning, when my eyes wake up, I meditate, to when I go to bed at night, I say my prayers thanking the Lord Jesus for another day. So
you live in gratitude, and you have a light about you that just shines so bright. And I think it's also, you know, the confidence and the peace and the gratitude that you emanate from every pore in your being is also from your belief in a higher power.
Yeah. And I think that's what I mention a lot of times. The Bible is my compass, so I'm not moved by other people's opinions of me. I'm not moved by judgment at all. I'm not moved by ridicule if I do something somebody's not approval of. I know my Bible is my compass, and I know that's where I go to make my decisions. So I have peace in that. So I'm not moved by others and their opinions and what they have to say in any measure. When I need to make my decisions, I know where I need to go to search to try and find what is the best decision that I do to make, to have the answers. And that's the word of the Lord. So then with that comes peace, that you feel I'm doing this, but I've got the comfort of knowing what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and where I got my story from, or where I got my word from, or my encouragement from.
Natalie, that's really, really beautiful. And it strikes me how, to me, you're so young, age is relative, and that you know who you are so deeply, so innately, and that you have the confidence and the determination to follow your dreams. And, unfortunately, not everybody has that confidence or that determination, because in life they've been brought down so severely that they don't believe in themselves. Whereas you have the determination and the drive, and you believe in yourself. So one thing, did you always believe in yourself, or was that something you had to work on?
Still got to work on it. You know what I mean? I don't have it down to a T. I mean, I believe in my abilities and my capabilities, but there's often times when I look in the mirror and I say, do you know what you're doing, Natalie? Do you have any idea? How are you going to get through this storm? I mean, I doubt myself, and it's a very normal thing to have that, to have those questions about, am I going to weather the storm? How is this going to come out? But where I do have got to go back, and I encourage each and every one of us to look back at any moment in time that we thought that was going to break us, and it didn't. Because when you look back, you can say, right, I thought that would break me. It didn't. And within that, you're going to find you've got more strength than what you ever thought you had. You're more capable than you thought that you're capable of. And you should have more confidence in yourself because you've been there. I went on a workshop and it spoke all about confidence. And I said, but what if I'm talking about a subject and I don't know what I'm going to talk about? Or what if it's about something that I don't understand? How do I have that confidence? And it was so beautifully wrote that confidence is not knowing exactly what you need to know. Confidence is knowing that you're going to figure it out. And that's where I understood. Okay. She said, if you ever get to that point, do you think you'll figure it out? I said, I'll figure it out. She says, now that is what confidence is knowing when you get to those stages, you're going to figure it out. So look back whenever you're going through those times, and trauma changes us, it does. But I always want to encourage each and every one of you. And I see there's this most beautiful song that I listen to, and it's Never Lose Your Wonder. So when I was 8 years old, picking up the seashells at that little girl, Natalie, I never, ever, ever want to lose her. And I encourage you all, no matter what trauma you've been through, that little girl or that little boy lives so deep inside of you. He was unbeknown to the challenges of the world. He was pure. She was pure and beautiful. Go back and find her and never, ever lose that, because that's the joy that you need.
I think you've said it all in a nutshell, and so eloquently. And your message is profound. And I really, really want to thank you. I know how busy you are, especially now with holiday season coming up and Black Friday coming up and Thanksgiving and all of the stuff, especially what you do. I'm sure that people are going wild for your stuff right now for gifts. And we will have contact information for you so that people can find you and find your products, because they are really, really beautiful and unique, something a little different. And I really
lots of shine, lots of bling.
I don't know for the holiday season.
Yeah, I don't know who's unhappy around bling.
No, especially during the holidays, right? The more bling, the better.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you have an incredible holiday season.
Thank you.
Wildly successful, which I know you're going to be. And I wish you the best of everything, and just keep being you, because you is beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. And to everyone listening, thank you so much. And thank you for letting me share my story. And yes, I'm busy, but I think this is just so important to me, just to inspire everyone and let you know it's going to be okay. It's
Thank
going to
you
be
so
okay.
much, Natalie. You're a beautiful
Thank
soul.
you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Happy
Okay, bye.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.